DNVR Broncos podcast coming to you live from Studio A here at the DNVR bar. And the A today stands for association. As in, could there be a Broncos association with Peyton Manning? Could also go on with advisory.
Yeah, that would have been better.
Advisory. A big splash.
No.
I always get yelled at when I just use the letter A.
But you use that all the time.
No, only when I'm backed into a corner.
I honestly thought that's where you were going with association. And it took me a second to be like, oh, no, that really is just a word.
Association's way too weak for this.
Why? They're trying to associate themselves with Peyton Manning.
Who doesn't want to do that?
No, they're not. No, they're not trying to.
What do you mean?
There's no associating with Peyton Manning. You land him. You don't just associate with Peyton.
No, because these guys just want Peyton Manning to say they have Peyton Manning.
I don't think so.
I like where Zach's going.
Let's get into this a little bit more here in a second. But first, a shout out to our presenting sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook, where you can bet $5 to get $150 in free bets. If you bet on any NBA money line, well, I guess any NBA Finals game, and you're lucky because I keep telling you to take the Warriors and they keep losing, but it doesn't matter because even if you lose your bet, you're still going to get your $150 in free bets from our friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook. So check that out. Get in on all the action at DraftKings.
My boys, what is going on, Henry? So pumped to have you on today.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've been commenting a lot in the chat.
Loved it.
Yes.
And eventually, like, you realize nobody cares what you're saying there. But now people have to listen to me. Like, everybody in the chat has to listen to what I have to say.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you've been like paying off people in the Madden chat because they keep saying like more Henry.
Yeah, no, that's just because I suck in the Madden league now.
Oh yeah,
like
what
now,
happened to you?
It's an effort thing. Like,
oh, wow.
Yeah, I had that deep playoff run. It's that thing you always talk about where there's like the playoff hangover. Mm-hmm. Like go
Ryan
NFC Championship game. Yeah, but then like you start off, you lose a couple games because you're not playing other Madden games. And so I did that, won 5 in a row, lost 5 in a row, threw in Davis Mills, and now here we are.
So
I'm gonna get a good pick.
So the guys who do the Madden podcast did a mid-season power rankings, and they ranked Henry 10th. Henry 9th, and me 10th. This came after I had swept Henry in our season series. Since those rankings came out, I haven't lost. Henry hasn't won.
Sounds like you've had a chip on your shoulder.
Yep,
You've been tuning into the media. You've been listening to the noise.
They awoke the beast.
So, Henry, what does a bad Henry mean? What's the record?
Oh, I'm 5-10 right now.
Oh,
is that right?
Okay.
2 games left. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm 7-9. Have the division lead right now.
Your division is
all I have to do.
7-9.
If I win, I'm in, baby.
So you won your
God.
game yesterday.
I did. I
Congrats.
won.
I tuned in early,
Yep,
and you were
went
kind of
down.
getting smoked.
Yeah, went down 6-0, and then DJ Chark just started taking over,
Wow,
baby.
my guy.
You're your
I
guy.
sent him to you.
Wow.
All right, Zach, you disagree with me on the level of involvement that Peyton Manning can have, and let me just say this before you even talk. I hope you're right.
Thank you. I hope I'm right too, Ryan. And here is the news that we're basing this off of. Adam Schefter today, and I should say Mike Kliss earlier this week, put out that Peyton had talked to all 4 ownership groups about potentially joining them in some capacity. So we knew that. And then today, Adam Schefter says the Walton Penner Broncos ownership group has had conversations with Peyton Manning about an advisory role in the organization. Let's just stop that midway there. If that was it, I would agree with you. I would say absolutely an association, nothing more. It looks good, and that's about it. But it does not stop there. He says that could eventually mean being a part of the ownership group and having equity in the franchise, per sources.
It still doesn't move the needle for me.
Why?
Because it's not going to be a large piece.
Yep.
So it's going to be a very small piece, and I just think it's exactly what I told you yesterday. They want to like make it clear like Peyton's ours. He's our guy.
Yep.
Without, if he was in the ownership group, he would have been in the ownership group. So to me, this is like, we still want you to be involved. We want Peyton Manning wearing Broncos stuff all the time. We want you at the stadium on Sundays, but you're an advisor in the same way that like John Elway is an advisor right now.
They all wanted Peyton in the group, though. Like, didn't we know beforehand that he had talked to all the groups? But you don't pick one because that one could lose. You wait till after, then jump in with all the winners.
Peyton should have just called me up and I was said, buddy.
But there's still a risk
The Walton group is the one you
yeah,
want
there's
to
still a
align
risk
with.
there, though.
And then for that whole month leading up to Monday's announcement, it should have been Peyton has talked to the winning bidder. And it's like, wait, there's not a winning bidder yet. That would have been pushed back there. But Ryan, my pushback to you is if someone is yours, that's not an association. That's a love affair. That's a bond. That's a forever thing. That's more than just saying hi to someone over the phone of an association. You're locked in if he's got ownership. Now, where I will agree with you is, and we never assumed that Peyton was going to have 10% of the Broncos. He was never going to be able to put in $400 million, $500 million. So what could happen is Peyton is theirs. He's locked in with the Broncos. He gets 1% of the team, something very small. And then his Omaha Productions grows, and he's getting a lot more money. And then Eli starts making a lot more money as well. And then all of those guys, and Archie, they go in on the New Orleans Saints or some other team. And then Peyton does leave and split off. We've seen that happen where a minority owner in a team goes to another team and eventually buys them. That could happen, and that could happen here. So maybe it's not marriage, but it's a long-term commitment here. We've got a relationship.
A long-term association. What do you think, Henry?
I mean, he's absolutely going to be involved. If you're Rob Walton and Peyton Manning is a part of your group, you're telling me you buy an NFL team and you have no interest in picking Peyton Manning's mind about what you should do.
No, I totally think you have a huge interest in it, but I just don't think it's going to be like a president of football operations type of thing where, he's in front of the camera all the time. I think it's going to be just like John Elway. John Elway just popped up in the draft room one day and they're like, oh, I guess John Elway's there today. He'll be on the sidelines for some things, but I just don't think it's going to be like an official role where you're seeing a lot of Peyton Manning rather than just seeing him, they pan over to his box during the game.
I mean, I think you're seeing him, like you said, the same way John Elway, you see him, but he's around a lot at this point, isn't he?
He is.
He was there all offseason.
He's been at nearly, if not every single OTA practice.
Yeah.
At least
It's
at the
tough to get a
media
tea time these days, so maybe if he can't get on the course, he goes out to practice.
I got to say, and speaking of John Elway's role really quick, I'm shocked at how much he's around. Remember when he was an advisor last year, or he took a step up but really a step back, and he was around a little bit, about the amount I expected. When he took this new role of outside consultant, I thought he was never going to be around.
Yeah.
He's been around a lot so far, and maybe it's him trying to be around in this process to try to sneak in that Peyton Manning role and kind of not necessarily keep Peyton out, but if there's one role available, he wants to be the one that's there, and he can say, hey, I've been here all offseason. I'm still here. Let me get that role.
Why not have the whole Broncos Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks in the building?
Totally.
Of course.
Yeah. Real quick on your point just now about John being around, I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and Paul Bissonnette was talking about Wayne Gretzky, and they've been working next to each other on the TNT set. And he's like, dude, this guy just loves hockey so much. All he wants to do is be around hockey. The story was he hit him up before, because the Avs were playing on Saturday in Edmonton, and so Wayne hit him up and was like, Friday and Sunday the Oil Kings are playing. We got to go up there to the juniors game. He's like, dude, all he wants to do is just watch hockey, be around hockey. And I assume John O is probably similar. Obviously he loves golf and gambling and all that other
Everybody
good
loves
stuff.
golf and gambling.
Exactly. But in the end, he's a football guy. That's his life. His entire life's work is football. It's probably weird for him to not be around it every day.
Okay, so then a counter to that, I think you could say the exact same thing about Peyton. And if Peyton's going to do something, Peyton goes all in. And that's why I could see this new role for him being something where he wants to be all the way around.
Golf, gambling, and scooters. That's literally a standard weekend.
That is true. But I do think they should be reaching out to Elway too and seeing if they can get him involved. I mean, everybody wants this to turn into another Bolin situation. Nobody knows how Pat Bolin ran that franchise better than John Elway. He was there from 83 to 97, comes back in different roles, co-owned the Crush with him. If you want Bolin, that's Elway. And it's not, again, you're not giving the keys to Elway, but again, having somebody to ask questions to, tell you what the city's like, tell you what you do, like that is somebody you want in that building.
I'm going to provide the devil's advocate view here. You can definitely have too many alphas. And I'm willing to guess a $70 billion man is an alpha. And of course, Peyton and John are that way too. And it's just weird. Like, I think it would be weird to have Peyton and John around in like a similar capacity.
I was gonna say different capacities. Yes, where John gives $100 million to have 0.4% of the team, and that's just an investment for him. And he can stay as an outside consultant helping George Payton, but then Peyton would come in, but it is tough because John would be helping with the football side. With George Payton, Peyton Manning would also be on the football side, right, if they're involved.
Exactly, and it's like, I don't know. You're not seeing any Adam Schefter reports about the Walton Group wanting John Elway involved.
It's true.
So to me, it's kind of like a passing of the torch thing here. Like, John is probably gonna be around, but just as like a legend.
And as George Payton's guy, and if George Payton has any questions, he'll call him up. And George Payton will continue to mention that he relies on John Elway, regardless of how much he does.
Yeah, and obviously Peyton would be involved in the football side of things too, but maybe he's like in more, because like he's obviously a successful businessman as well. So maybe he's like Walton's guy, whereas John Elway can be Peyton's guy.
I just don't see that happening.
Yeah,
I don't see.
I think it's too much.
Yeah, I don't see Peyton Manning doing that, and I also don't see Peyton Manning taking a role that's not the exact one that he wants. And that's just what could be tough here, because you mentioned Rob Walton is an alpha. The two people that are going to be running this team on a day-to-day basis, they are also alphas. Carrie Penner, or Walton Penner, and her husband Greg Penner, while they may not be worth $70 billion, they're going to be worth about $25-30 billion in just a couple of decades, and they're already worth a lot themselves right now. So where would Peyton's role be? Because it's hard to think that he could come in and be the president of the team, because you think that those two would kind of have that title of president of the team, that type of ownership, looking over the business and the football side. And then president of football operations. Wouldn't you then be really stripping George Payton of, I mean, you absolutely would be stripping George Payton of final say. And you would be trumping George Payton, and everything George Payton's done so far says that shouldn't happen.
Right.
Totally.
Which is why I think that this is going to be a much smaller,
just an advisor role.
Yeah, an association.
Don't if say that word.
if I'm Rob Walton, what I'm thinking is, again, there's no reason to think Elway is going to be a part of it. But what I would do is I would go in there and say, okay, you two, maybe there's equity, whatever. You guys are advisors. And every Thursday, me and you two and George, we're going to sit down for an hour. We're going to talk about shit. Hopefully you've been like around the facilities, like paying attention on the sidelines. After that, we're going to get a tea time. We're going to get some drinks after. And that's going to be that relationship. And if I need advice on something else, maybe you call up on another day. But that just seems like when you're thinking about building a football team, and not from like a roster standpoint, but just from what are the Denver Broncos? Where are the facilities? Where is the stadium? Like, those just seem like good guys to have some sort of conversation with. And so if I'm Rob Walton, I'm really interested in what those two have to say as much as just about anybody else. I
just want more pictures of Peyton and Russ in the film room together, but then just John in there as well.
The both of them over Russ's shoulder, and it looks like a painting that's on a wall in the Louvre, but that's just every Monday morning.
That was a risk. Like, you really went for it saying the Louvre.
Yeah, you did.
Because I see that word and I'm scared to pronounce it.
Yeah, I just can't go confidently with Louvre.
That's why I was confident, and I hope it worked out.
I believed every second of it.
Yeah.
The Louvre.
It's like Brett Favre.
Right, yes.
So dumb. I'm convinced Brett Favre says his name wrong.
You just never see that. Like, I've never seen that from any other team. Even the Peyton and Russ thing. Maybe I'm just not paying close enough attention, but I just don't think I've seen like two Hall of Famers, one current, one who's in the Hall of Fame, like working together in an NFL building.
Brett Favre looking over Aaron Rodgers' shoulder in
like
the
that
meeting room.
ended gross.
Absolutely
and
not.
that sounds weird,
exactly.
but it's almost a 1-for-1. in terms of like the age gap.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And certainly not. I don't know about this, but I would imagine their relationship is pretty non-existent.
Does Aaron Rodgers have a relationship with anyone?
That's very true.
And
Yeah.
I mean, Brett Favre, things ended really ugly with the Packers.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a man who's going to be spending a lot of time
That's
there.
the one difference is
That's
they
the
didn't
big one.
compete for a job against each
Like,
other.
who
Peyton
else
and Russ.
retired from
Right.
their team? Like, around the 90s, had a
You got,
great
Drew
career.
Bledsoe and Tom Brady.
Right. Right. Drew Bledsoe's looking over Tom's shoulder, telling him stuff, and Tom's just like, no. get
Like
outta here.
maybe you'll see Phillip Rivers and Justin Herbert at some point.
Maybe. But we're talking about, Justin Herbert's too young to be a Hall of Famer, and Phillip Rivers isn't like a bona fide Hall of Famer.
Yeah, exactly. Joe Montana played for the Chiefs.
Joe Montana and Patrick Mahomes haven't seen it.
That's what I'm saying. It's like a really unique thing. And I just feel like someone at Broncos Social should be like, hey, let's get John in this pick. No one's ever done
Totally.
anything like this.
Right. Yep. I guess that's what they did with their schedule release video. They're like, let's have all three here.
They did a great job.
Yep, they did.
Except for the part where they needed to show the schedule.
Shake my head. Next year, you know what it should
It was
be?
just skit comedy.
Just for us,
It wasn't a schedule release.
their whole video should just be a picture of the schedule.
Just
Monotonely
2 minutes.
reading through it. Yes.
it's Tom Shane reading the schedule.
Right.
up.
Yes. That'd be good. You could have Tom Shane. You could have Dealin' Doug.
Oh,
Yeah.
the American Furniture Warehouse guy. Jake Jabs.
Jake Jabs. Yep. Oh, who are some other ones?
Damn, we should do our own schedule release video and
yeah.
get like Denver C-list celebrities.
I love it. Yes.
I'm in.
I'm
Yep.
in. I'm absolutely in.
All right. Someone bookmark that for next season. All right. Let's move on here. I guess it's just to be seen what exactly it is. I find it weird, but maybe it really was just posturing from Peyton. He's like, I'm not aligning myself with anyone
yeah.
until I know who wins.
Why would you?
Yeah.
And that's just like smart because
is.
everyone wants him. He wants in. Patrick was, throwing in the good word for him. Hey, Peyton wants to be involved, just so you know.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's a win-win for everyone. I'd like to see Peyton essentially be like the figurehead of the ownership group,
Would love it.
but I don't think that's happening.
No, I completely agree. I think if it was any other group, we may see that. But with Rob Walton and the structure he already has in place, it's not going to happen.
You just haven't seen that. Like, it's always the majority owner, it feels like. Like, there's
Right.
nowhere else where you really see, at least I can think of off the top of my head.
Is there? I feel like there maybe is an example of somewhere where it's just like a player kind of represents the
Like
owner.
Magic Johnson, is he like
Yes.
a part owner of the Lakers?
That's
But again,
exact-
that's not
anymore.
NFL.
I don't think, but
Okay.
That would have been it.
Now he's the Dodgers.
Yep.
Huh.
And is he the one that speaks for them?
I
As the
believe
owner?
so.
I mean, but
Okay.
you know Jeannie Buss just as much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. I think he was like He was like a title with the Lakers,
did.
like president of basketball.
He was.
something
I think-
along
yeah.
those lines. But then he was also part owner of the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Now I think
Right.
he's just part owner of the Dodgers, and he speaks on behalf of the owners.
Yep.
All right. I want to remind you guys to come down to the DNVR bar. I don't know if you guys saw yesterday. Denver is easing restrictions on bars in
boy.
terms of where they can serve. So we'll see what we can do with that. We'll hopefully be able to do something really
Nice
awesome.
little
with
tease
that.
there.
Yes. Come down for the Cup Finals. It's going to be out of control. Just insane in the best possible way. So make sure you come hang out here. And you can come watch the other series. Hopefully it gets over as fast as possible, but it just feels like it has 7 written all over it.
It does.
And you can watch the NBA Finals, even though every game sucks in the NBA playoffs since the Nuggets went out. And yeah, you can watch all sorts of great stuff down here. So come out and hang out, but especially get yourself ready to come down here and watch the Stanley Cup. It's going to be incredible.
And come check out our friends over at Sexy Pizza, where they are celebrating the Avs making the Stanley Cup Finals by giving you 15% off your entire order using the promo code DNVRAVS. And as Ryan likes to say, no apostrophes between the V and the S, no apostrophes after the S, just DNVRAVS to get yourself 15% off your entire order of Sexy Pizza. Sexy Pizza truly is the best pizza out there. So if you're in anywhere in Denver, make make sure that's your go-to. And again, use that code this weekend when you're having some outdoor parties with this great weather, and that is DNVR Avs over at Sexy Pizza.
You know about the Ivaca TV
I just
read?
pulled it up. I don't know that I've ever done Ivaca before, so this is gonna be a fun one.
Wow.
Ivaca. First fun thing about Ivaca TV, like evocative. That's pretty clever. That's pretty
thought of
clever.
that.
Yeah. So
Gets the people going.
what they do
Yeah.
though, it's like a TV service. They have Altitude on it, which is the big plug. That's why they advertise through us, is because nobody here can watch Altitude, and this is the easy way to do it. You know, there's all the people saying like, oh, out in Boston, there's like the $30 you can pay to stream whatever. This is $25, and you get Altitude plus a bunch of other stuff, including the DNVR network.
Yep.
Or do we call it anything? Or what
The
is it?
DNVR channel.
Yeah.
DNVR channel. Okay, I like that. But yeah, DNVR. You could watch this there. You could watch a bunch of stuff there. But again, it's cool. It's cheap, and you get a discount right now. It's only $15 per month for the first 3 months plus the receiver cost if you use the promo code DNVR. Again, it's usually $25. That gets it down to $15. That receiver's only $5 a month or $250 up front if you just want to buy it. You get the Rockies, you get the Avs, the Nuggets. Get in on it.
Hell yeah. Ivaca.tv/DNVR.
Boom.
There we
you
go.
You did good.
Great job.
You did
Great
good.
job,
You
Hank.
did good.
A couple housekeeping notes I want to get. Just quick. I want your quick takes on this. First, FU Draymond. The whole stadium chanting it. How do we feel about this?
Extremely predictable that was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's
About
the way
as
it should be.
predictable as the guy with extremely fair skin and red hair with a painted on jersey that said white.
That's a rough one. I mean, yeah, you gotta FU Draymond, of course. He's one like you go back and forth on where it's like you hate him. He's playing the Nuggets, and then you watch him, and you're like, he is pretty good. But yeah, in that situation, FU Draymond for sure.
When he wins me over is just like with his podcast.
Oh, totally.
It's like it's so revealing and interesting.
Yeah.
But when he's playing the Nuggets, I hate him. I just want to say this: it is a bit much for a whole stadium to be chanting that. At the same time, I'm
you say
so
I don't think
impressed.
so.
I'm so impressed. I don't think I would if I did that at Ball Arena. I don't think I would get everyone around me to do it.
I think that's fair. I think Boston fans are different.
Yeah.
And so I think you could do that there. You couldn't do that here.
I think people would like turn around and like
Right.
snarl at
Right.
me.
Like for Melo, you could. Like Melo, you could.
I
No, I don't think
you
people
don't think
would say
so?
F you. I
Really?
think you could boo and people would boo with
Oh,
you
of
for
course,
Melo,
yeah.
but F you.
Huh.
We can't even do the bullshit chant anymore. Now it's just ref you suck.
That is a bad one.
Right. Draymond reminds me of Phillip Rivers. If he's on your team, you absolutely love him. You love the trash talk. You love what he brings because then off the court, actually you like him. And if he's on your team, oh my gosh, do you love what he brings?
Yeah.
He's also way better though. Just throwing that out there.
There,
Easy Hall of Famer. Easy Hall of Famer for Draymond.
Draymond is not a Hall of
Bro,
Famer.
he has
If-
15 points and 15 fouls in this series.
Yeah, he's
Wow,
like 34 and he's
no
about to get
way.
another ring. He's a defender. He's going to the Hall of Fame.
And you could probably,
He is.
I don't disagree with you with that, but if you put him on another team, he's not a Hall of Famer. And you could probably say that about some guys, but not a lot of guys. Like Hall of Famers,
What I'll say is
are
you'll
who they
never
are.
say that about a quarterback.
if you put it,
If you put him on another team, he wouldn't be a Hall of Famer.
oh, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would still be a Hall of Famer, is
Yeah.
what you're saying. Yeah.
The quarterback makes the team. One other thing. Live Golf. How does this end? To me, it ends with they run out of money
Oh,
very
yes.
soon.
Yeah.
And
But that's the thing is they have unlimited money. Like they're like what, like Saudi princes? Like
Fair.
the money will last decades.
I guess I shouldn't say they run out of money. I think it just loses money
Right.
very quickly.
Right.
And those guys are like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Well, here's what happens is all the people that's being suspended by the PGA don't play in the PGA, and then do people start tuning in to Live Golf? And that's how.
Do you even know
they
how to
last.
tune in?
Absolutely not. No.
YouTube, right?
No. And it's
I
got,
don't know.
Yeah,
it
it's just
doesn't it
YouTube.
doesn't it have to be at 2 a.m., 11 p.m. our time? Like it can't be a good time.
I think they play all around the world.
Okay,
so it
they're
depends.
floating around.
I mean, did you see the Phil Mickelson press conference?
No,
Oh, God.
It was so good.
because it was bad.
Well, yeah, because it was awkward and cringy.
Yeah.
He said sorry about something. He's like, I'm sorry to whoever, blah, blah, blah. And then this British reporter pressed him. I assume they were British based on their accent. Pressed him and was like, What are you saying sorry for? Are you saying sorry because of the human rights violations here, or are you saying sorry because you're shamelessly taking their money?
Oh my gosh! And did he have no answer for that?
He was like, I understand. So cringe. All right, let's move on. So the other day we released a little video of this yesterday. Zach, RG, and I went down to Coors Field where the Broncos were having a home run derby. We've got a couple different pieces of content coming out from this. We had a little vlog yesterday, but we also asked Russell Wilson
his teammates.
Yes, Russell Wilson's teammates, one very important question. So let's toss up that video.
Should we just play them all?
Yeah, just play them all.
Yeah.
This is the question everyone wants to know: is Russell Wilson corny?
Oh man! Hey, I'll say this. The Russ that people see on social media and the quick little intros and outros of different videos that he does, he is the exact same person.
You can respect that, right?
I respect that. I think a lot of the times, especially when I would consider him an A-list celebrity, and especially being with Sierra, there's a lot of attention that comes with that. You have a different perspective of what you think and how you think they would act behind cameras, and he's exactly the same guy. And so I guess I necessarily wouldn't call that corny. I would say the opposite. Like if he was completely different, I would say that was kind of corny. So I wouldn't call him corny, but he is the exact same guy that you meet in front of the camera, doing the whatever intros, outros, all the funny things that he does. He's the exact same guy, and he's genuinely one of the best guys that I've met. Like being his status and stature as a player in our league.
Is he corny? No. He has a plan for everything that he does, so he knows what he's doing.
Is Russell Wilson corny?
I don't know. Does he have any corn sponsors? Josie's from Iowa. So you got to ask Josie the question about corn. But no, for my short amount of time I've been here with Russell, it's been great. I'm looking forward to what he brings to this team. Something that we haven't had in a little bit. So excited to have him here on the team.
If being the best quarterback and being a good father to your kids and a great husband, if that's corny, then I want to be corny too.
I love that. I wouldn't call Russell Wilson corny. I would say you're seeing, someone that is expressing greatness all the time. I know that video that came out recently, it wasn't, very fun. But hey, when you do those, when you do those media things, it is never fun to do that because you're by yourself in a quiet room.
Get hyped. You're like,
and you got to get hyped by yourself.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
I think we have media day tomorrow, so I'm not excited for my turn.
take like a pre-workout or something before you go out.
There's a whole bunch of caffeine, just get loaded up.
We'll need a report. Okay,
Just,
last one.
yeah, dry scoop some C4 or something.
Man.
Oh my god. Quinn Miners was my favorite.
Oh yeah. And I gotta say, you guys gotta tune in to the other ones. This was our most quote unquote serious question for them.
Wow.
The rest are off the wall.
That was the serious one?
Yeah.
Is Russell Wilson corny?
Russell Wilson corny.
Yeah.
Well, because it got them into. It's the only question we asked that got them into defense mode.
Yeah,
No,
it
totally.
did.
Yeah.
It did.
It's bold to come in with that one.
I know. Well, it was woven
Yeah,
into.
It was.
And I thought I like Justin's response the best because he actually laughed at it. Like the other guys
right,
were kind of like deer in the headlights
Yeah.
for the second.
Yeah.
And one thing I've learned over the last week, and you guys can kind of take this how you will, is I truly believe Russell Wilson is looked at by the players as closer to a coach than he is looked at as one of the players. So if we asked, is Nathaniel Hackett corny? I think they would have had the same response, well, no, he's just a smart guy. He brings a lot of energy that you don't want to talk. You don't want to talk smack about the coaches. And I truly think that's the way they look at Russell Wilson. And I think that has some positives and negatives. I personally would prefer they kind of looked at him as one of the guys and he can take some shit and all that stuff. But it's not the case.
That's how it goes with star quarterbacks, though.
Yeah.
Like Tom Brady isn't one of the guys. Peyton Manning probably wasn't just one of the guys.
Here's what I'll say. I'm curious what the response is in 2 years from now. And I would hope some guys would be willing to give him some shit and tease him and have some fun with him. Because remember, the wide receivers with Peyton, once they got comfortable with him, they, tried to have
That's
him pose, half naked for a Sports Illustrated thing. Those guys were okay. But you know what? I bet some offensive linemen never got comfortable with Peyton, and some defensive players never wanted to be on his bad side. And we're still very much in that. It's almost the opposite of a honeymoon stage. We're in that like, yes, sir. Yes, Russell.
Yeah.
Whatever you want. And on top of that, Draymond Jones, I don't remember the exact word, when talking about Russell Wilson, he mentioned Nathaniel Hackett right after he said Russell Wilson like the higher power or something like that. And Ryan, it plays exactly to what you're saying. He mentions Russ and Hackett, and then after that, he still mentions Russ as being like this godly figure.
Yeah, I mean, well, when you talk about higher powers, you literally look up. Russell Wilson has an office on the second floor of Dove Valley.
He does?
Yes, he does.
Oh my God.
So
I don't know about that.
I know. That's what I'm saying is like he's essentially a coach.
Yep.
And I think that's why you saw that sort of response. It's not uncommon for quarterbacks to have offices in the building. Just because
Great ones.
Yes, exactly. But like even Case Keenum got an office, it just wasn't on the second floor. So like it's one of those things where the quarterbacks are there more than anyone else. They are watching more film than anyone else. So give them a place to do it. It's weird. But I think it makes sense.
I just want to see what he has in there. Like, if it's just, like, a bunch of chairs and projector, like, that makes sense. But, like, you don't need a computer. Like, you don't need a desk. Like, you don't need, like, I guess maybe pens. You'll take some real notes. But, like, you don't need to sit down and write emails or anything, like, real office work.
His office should be the most high-tech one of them all. He should have TVs surrounding him. He should have the VR in his office. Anything he wants. And this is probably something that was not negotiated, but remember when Russ made that first visit to make sure that he wanted to be there, understand the Broncos' vision? He probably said, okay, so which office is mine? You want to show that to me right now, or you just want it done by the time I get back here?
Yeah.
And they understood.
Those are the types of things that like you can do when you're Russell Wilson. I mean, as it has been reported, it wasn't a done deal when he came and toured the facility. He still hadn't officially signed off. So he absolutely could have been like, well, can I have this office?
He's sitting in George Payton's office. This is not true, but he's sitting in George Payton's office. He's like, yeah, this is a good office. And George is like, yeah, it is, isn't it? It's like the best view. And he's like, yeah, so where's your office going to be, George?
I think there's a vacant office up there where John Elway used to be.
Yeah, it's a big one, too.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
Although maybe the Waltons want to come in and take that office.
Now that is interesting. Rob Walton. Do you take it, or do you maybe you just build your own building that's an office, like attached to it somehow?
You do whatever you want to do.
Oh,
you
don't come in and push Russ out.
I doubt that that's the actual case. I think Russ is probably just a smaller office up there.
It is crazy just trying to like put yourself in Rob Walton's head. Where it's like, okay, this is my team. Like, what office do I want? Do I push somebody out of their office? Do I just build my own office? Like, I just can't even imagine what goes through your head when you're making a decision like that. Just like build me a new complex.
There's only like 2 or 3 really good offices.
Yep.
In that building, from what I can see.
Yeah. Yep. That overlook the field.
Yep. With like the nice view and all that.
And we know
there's nothing good in the field house.
No, that's all media stuff. So of course, nothing good. They at least 2 of them have balconies, and one used to be John's, so it's probably George's now.
And one was Joe's.
Yep. So well, did Hackett have one?
Hackett should.
There probably is a coach's office that has a view.
Vance, and then probably Joe as well.
There
are 3. You're right. Joe does have.
You look up there and you see him.
Yeah.
So you think that have to be owner, GM, head coach?
Yeah.
Yes.
Where's quarterback fit in?
Yes.
It is not the quarterback.
Like, honestly, the 4 pillars should have.
4 pillars.
Yeah.
Like your quarterback, like if he has a chair where he sits and then like a desk and then like the 2 chairs across from it, like that just doesn't like you're not calling people
he's
in.
Like pressing a button. He's like, hey, can you send in Cortland?
Yeah, like no, like that's not your job. Like if you want to watch film, like have like some good film. Like get a couch in there or something. Desks if you're like gonna make these guys really uncomfortable, like feel like they're working, but I don't know. I gotta see how he laid that out. I'm skeptical.
You know who that's for? It's not. He's not actually calling Cortland in. He's calling Nathaniel in and saying, you know what? That game plan last week just not acceptable.
We said Rob Walton in.
Right.
Rob, well, come on. Cash over cap, my God.
Right? Yeah. Oh man, we joke because it's true.
We do. Speaking of things we joke about that are true, the salary cap being fake.
Yes.
Is it Andrew Brandt? Is that the
Yes,
name of the person
yes.
who said that?
It was yes.
Okay, someone like that. Former GM of the Packers was on with Pat McAfee yesterday and explained what we've been trying to explain for years. I would just recommend you watch it because there was someone who tweeted out a couple months ago, like, if your favorite NFL analyst tells you the cap isn't real, then you need to find a new favorite NFL analyst. And like 40 people tagged me in it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, thanks for saying that I'm your favorite. But I will die on the hill that the cap isn't real.
Look at the past 48 hours in Los Angeles. The team that, couldn't do anything this offseason, and maybe they were going to lose their whole Super Bowl team.
I bet Vaughn's heard about it.
Oh, I bet he is. They could have kept him if they wanted to. They just clearly wanted to prioritize other things. They gave Aaron Donald a pay raise. They gave Cooper Kupp a pay raise. Because they had the cash to do it.
Stan
That was the
Kroenke
key.
opening up the pocketbook.
Yeah, how about
At
that?
some point, that bill does kind of come to like you add the void years in. You keep setting it down the road every single time, but there is that small amount that builds up and builds up.
For
Like
sure.
once every decade, you have to have a year where it's just like, okay, we can't go full go.
But I will say,
But yeah.
Brandt wouldn't even commit to the fact that that the bill eventually comes due. He's like, you can essentially kick the can down the road forever, but the one thing is, like, if you cut the guys, then you're in trouble. So you have to be willing to keep them, whoever you're doing this for
That is true.
most of, if not all of the contract.
Gotta be
The
good
other thing
contracts.
is the salary cap keeps growing.
Yeah.
So as you kick the can
Yeah.
down the road, you get more leeway on the back end.
And here's the thing, the Saints are like the perfect
Exactly.
example. Literally like 7 years ago, everyone was like, in 2 years, they're done. They can't kick the can down anymore. And then it was Drew Brees left, and it's like, okay, this is when they're going to eat it and just have a bad year to reset. Nope, they didn't do that last year. And then this year, when Sean Payton left, they're like, okay, they're doing it. No,
Yeah,
they go out, they
yeah.
sign more guys. It's like, if the Saints keep doing this, then I'm 100% going to believe the cap does not matter.
Yep. I mean, again, it's an exaggeration to make a point to say that it's not real, but you can make it as fake as you want.
Yep. Definitely.
And the Broncos are, if we're being realistic, in a 6-year window, I would say. Their true Super Bowl window is going to be the next 6 years. Of course, there's been quarterbacks who win it much later than that. But if I was approaching this, I would say I've got 6 years to try and win as much as I possibly can. And you can absolutely make the cap not real for 6 years.
And the good thing is the Broncos are starting at an advantage right now where they have some extra cash or cap this year that they're going to roll over to next year. So they're starting in a great point. They're starting on top, and they have so much leeway.
Isn't that kind of a bad idea, though? Because you can just kick it down the road? Like, why not spend? Why not make the Akeem Hicks deal instead?
Oh, I completely agree.
Yeah.
And when John Elway in the past couple of years has been saying, we're in it for this year, we're not rebuilding. It's like, you have $21 million in cap space that you have that you're going to roll over to next year. Something's not fully adding up.
Yep. Poor John. I actually feel bad for him because obviously he had a hand in the fact that the Broncos couldn't find the right quarterback. But he didn't really like the biggest one you'll say is Josh Allen. That's like a true 100%. He was right there for you. You missed him. A lot of the other things, it was like he didn't have great options, and we know how hard it's not like it's just every GM but him could find a quarterback. And so I just feel bad for him because I know all he wanted to do was say like I left the team in a good place.
Did they take Paxton the year before Josh Allen?
That was the year before Mahomes draft.
It was
Weren't they this?
It was 20. It was the year they took Brad. No, wait. Josh Allen was 2018.
Paxton Lynch draft, Patrick Mahomes draft, Josh Allen draft.
Okay.
Were those
Again,
three.
that would have made them like one of two teams in the past 20 plus years to take two first round quarterbacks in 3 years.
Yeah.
So that would have been like at the time a pretty ridiculous move. Now they should have done it absolutely.
But Paxton was already done.
Oh, totally.
They
I was
had
gonna
no
say,
hopes on him.
That's the difference. Is they knew after year one
They
he
got
was
gun
done.
shy, is
Yeah.
what it was, and they were like, "Well, we're probably safer with Case Keenum than Josh Allen.
That would have been like draft-wise one of the 3 most bold quarterback moves of the past 30 years.
Yep. No, nothing will compare to the Cardinals.
Exactly. Yeah. Cardinals and I think Manziel 1 year later, one before, or 2 years later they took one.
Okay.
The Browns. Yeah.
It's like Brandon Whedon and then John.
Yeah. Exactly.
Manziel.
Yeah.
Can't say they didn't try.
Or maybe it's the other way. Yeah.
You can't say that again this time either.
Oh.
Yeah.
They're certainly trying. They're
They
just pressing
are.
all the wrong buttons.
Oh man, majorly.
It's unbelievable. Okay. Anything else on Russ or offices on the second floor?
I loved that that Quinn Meinerz was actually the one to give him the most shit by saying that video wasn't very fun.
I thought I was gonna get him to expand on that. 'Cause did you hear me say why did they post that?
Yeah. He just zoomed right
He
through.
went
He
right
was like,
back.
"I'm not doing that."
Also, my favorite part of that was him talking about how they had to do it yesterday.
Yep.
And he's like, it's so difficult. So I said, you should take a pre-workout. And he's like, yeah, I'm just going to dry scoop some C4.
Got to see those clips of Quinn Meinerz.
Yes. I know. I was looking for it yesterday because they posted some videos from it.
Yep.
They also posted Russ again. And I'm like, what are you, like, he didn't say anything in this one,
Right.
thankfully.
Oh, they made sure. They said, "Russ, don't say anything, and also we're going to mute this one."
Just maybe no more behind the scenes.
We don't need that. Just
those.
save it for game day.
It's a lot
you
of
know?
Let's Ride.
It's,
I've had a lot of Let's Ride.
Yeah, Henry's a little bit over Let's Ride.
I need a break. Give me a couple months off, and then for the season, then we'll get back into Let's Ride. But it's been a lot of Let's Ride.
Next week.
Yep.
You'll get a lot of Let's Ride then.
Yep.
Oh boy.
But then you'll get a solid month break from Let's
Yeah,
Ride.
but-
Except for Russ's social.
Oh man, but then you think it's bad now. We've been hearing it like once a month talking to Russ. It's gonna be every single week, multiple times a week.
Yep.
Get those
10
earmuffs
years.
ready.
Yep.
I guess if it comes after a win, it's better.
Yeah.
You know, once there's actually wins
like-
stacking up.
I think
totally.
it's a legitimately good catchphrase.
Yeah. It's just overused. The other thing is, like, I feel like it doesn't. Like, after wins, I feel like you can't say it. Like, you go out, Let's Ride. You already rode.
So then what you
We
want him to do
rode
is Sunday.
would be-
So you want him to come out Sunday morning and drop,
Yeah.
drop a Let's Ride every single week.
Like, it does kind of feel like more of an off-season thing now that I think of it. Like a Let's Ride, and then you
Yeah.
get into the season.
So-
No, they'll keep pumping.
So the Let's Ride thing, the we rode,
We
is
rode.
that is after a win? What's after a loss? We got ridden.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's it. Yeah.
No, after a loss, it's let's rid. Let's rid
Let's
ourselves.
rid,
of
yes,
this
yes.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
All right. One thing you don't want to rid yourself of is athletic greens.
Yes.
You want to ride with athletic greens as much as you possibly can, so you can get that AG glow. It'll make your skin glow. Our friend Eric Weedham D-Line says it makes his fingernails more healthy. He says it really makes them shine. I believe him on that.
But there's no way that guy has shiny fingernails.
Hey,
We can go check, but I just don't buy it.
You want to? We can call him in here. You can hang him in front of the camera. Only if he's been taking his athletic greens. You got to take your athletic greens. It's great for your gut health. It'll make you feel good in the morning. Like, it's just one of those things where you take it, you're like, whoa, how was I living without this before? So check them out. Use the code DNVR when you sign up, and you're going to get 5 free travel packs and a year's supply of immune-supporting vitamin D. Just go to athleticgreens.com/Broncos to get in on that awesome deal.
Absolutely. Check them out. And let's check out our people and talk to the comment section. Let's dive into it over at thednvr.com. But I do think we have a super chat to hit coming in from our guy, Brian Para. And, of course, he's talking to all of us here, but specifically you, Hank. He says, Madden Talk Henry on the pod? Am I dreaming?
Yep.
Yes, he is.
Yes, you are.
Wake
Yep,
up.
It's all
Wake
a
up.
dream.
That alarm's going off,
Yep.
baby.
Yep. Right after this, your dream is going to transfer into me beating you in another Super Bowl.
Well, if he's dreaming, then he's probably dreaming of just the smackdown that he put on me a couple weeks ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
Also, it looks like did the comments get cut off midway there, Kale? That's been happening lately. So there might be some more super chats actually on, something worth looking into. Anyways, we can jump into the comments on the website and then circle back if there's any ones that we missed.
Perfect. First one coming in from Aaron Ray says, "What's going on, my G's? I had a nightmare." Wow, we're talking about dreams and nightmares here. Says, "I had a nightmare that the new owner decided to relocate the Broncos to a different city. I know it would never happen, but if one day he decided he wanted to just do that, would we, the people, or the NFL be able to stop it from happening, given the fact that the Broncos are such a staple in Denver? Need some peace of mind after that nightmare, LOL. Stay blessed."
There's no way that they're gonna move. I mean, but like, let's talk about what that path would be. So let's just say like the Avs win the next 4 Stanley Cups, Nuggets break through with Jokic, the Rockies figure it out, and then all of a sudden like the Broncos aren't just like the big thing in town. Meanwhile, like Russell Wilson just does not pan out. The Broncos have 3-win seasons for the next decade. In that scenario, at that point, like there's 20,000 no-shows every week. That's probably enough for them to move, right?
Yeah.
But it takes something like that.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
But to answer your question that you want peace of mind on, no, you couldn't stop him.
No, yeah, you couldn't. And here's what would stop them, though, is, Hank, the timeline you laid out is over many, many years.
Totally.
You know what would happen before that? He'd build a new stadium out there, and he would invest $5 billion of his own money, so he would then be tied to Denver. But I agree with Ryan. There's nothing you can do.
The owners could, right?
St. Louis didn't want him to leave.
I think the owners
Yeah, the owners would have to vote.
Could vote against it.
But
And they would.
I don't know,
Unless it gets to
because
that point.
I think the owner, Rob Walton in this case, would be moving it to what he thinks is a very profitable market. And that would sell the owners on, okay, you're taking them out of Denver so we can get more money? Sure.
I just don't think that there is it would take that wild scenario for there to be a more profitable market.
Remember, Broncos country literally spans the most territory of any fan base in the United States. So you're going to piss off literally an entire chunk of the country if you do that. I think there's a chance the owners would vote against it. Regardless, this is like I realize it's not our fault. We didn't bring this up, but it's like fear-mongering to even mention it.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Because they'd be like the second team in Chicago. Like they go to San Antonio. Like
Mexico City.
Like I guess Mexico City would be the one that could potentially, but still then, like you're probably not making that much more money. And if you are going to make money there, the owners would say, no, you're not going. Send the Jags down there.
I agree.
Yeah, the owners wouldn't approve it unless it got real bad.
At that point. So
nobody's going to London.
Remember, the Broncos International City is Mexico, or
that is true.
Country is Mexico.
For the first time this year, the Jags are in charge of the tickets.
Ooh.
For the game at Wembley.
Who's in charge before?
Like the NFL.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Yep.
Shows they're integrating themselves.
So it's like quite literally a home game for them.
Wow. How about that? Next one coming in from Denver Rival says, "Hey guys, it was funny that right after I finished listening to the pod and then my Instagram feed started showing Ellis and Rob's statements. I love the Mile High era and grew up watching the Jaguars destroying the Jay Cutler Broncos at that stadium.
Couldn't have happened.
But I am down with the idea of a new stadium in a new area. Having it in downtown can make it a tedious process to park, walk, and pay for all those things when you're outside of the downtown area. A new zone will lead to new business and homes for that area. I would hope it makes living in the Denver metro area cheaper in this new behemoth of Wally World. I hope Rob Walton will make a Denver dynasty. What an active 2022 offseason for us Broncos fans. Let's hope these newer jerseys look good, unlike the City Connect Rockies jerseys. Go Broncos and DNVR fan, please show some love to the DNVR Rivals June 26th fundraising game by donating, attending, and volunteering for the program."
So I get this. And I've never once said it's all bad moving the stadium. There are slight things that could be cool about it. The number one thing being that it would be an insane stadium. And it's true that you would have this like cool new area that you could go to that wouldn't exist otherwise. That being said, like it's so much better having it in downtown.
Totally.
And I say this as someone who's been to every version of this. In downtown, on the outskirts of downtown, out of town, completely in a different city in Arizona. And that one is by far the worst. And the further away you get from the city, the worse it gets. It's just not nearly as cool. When you're at our tailgate at Mile High, You're literally looking over the city of Denver right before you see the Denver Broncos play.
But imagine you could overlook the beautiful DIA
Planes.
in the background.
Literally planes, 2 different kinds. One in the air, one on the ground. That's all you get to see. So, yeah, I mean, it could be cool. There could be cool things about it. It would also suck.
The Broncos could have flyovers at every single game.
Yeah.
By Frontier Airlines, yeah. That'd be so cool.
People are like, oh, that's the Bronco tail.
I think that we underrate like the ability of them to build like a mega complex on the current site. Like when you look at what land, I mean, they don't have it, and that's the tough part. Like they'd have to do a bunch of work, buy it from the city, and go through whatever deal, whatever. But like the land that they are on, plus the land that the Cronkies are on, is 15% bigger than the complex that the Rams have out in Inglewood. So like they have all that, and plus you look at what else is around there, and it's like you have that U-Haul store, like you have the rug store, you have like that big electrical facility. Like it's a bunch of things that it feels like if Rob Walton went up to them and just said like, here's some money, can we just buy this? It seems like you could get them, especially when you remember like how they got their land down in Cherry Hills, because they're building whatever mansion. They went and bought 4 plots of property from 4 different people, and none of them were on the market. Like, you do that same thing, plus you take from the city, and all of a sudden they could own as much as the Rams own, build all that up, and you're right in town.
Imagine the call when someone's like, hey, so the Waltons are buying the Broncos, and they want your house, and, like, they value, like, this is your realtor, and they're like, I value your house at $20 million. They're willing to pay $40 for it. You know, like I guess they ended up paying $20 for all of it, but still, what a crazy. And you're just like, well, I can't turn down this deal.
Well, you just buy the neighbor's house that's up for sale. Like, yeah, might as well just take $20 million cash and use the other half of it to.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I think it's possible. Here's the thing. That land is so much more valuable as apartments and things like that, and so that you can make so much money off of that another way around. Like the Cronkies own that land around the Ball Arena, and they're going to develop it into that sort of stuff. You would have to own that area, and you could do that sort of thing too, but you could also just invent an area that suddenly becomes valuable that isn't right now. So you get the land for so cheap, and then you turn it into really valuable land.
Yeah.
That's how you end up with $70 billion.
And it still would be more valuable downtown, though. Like if you do that same thing, but it's downtown, that ups it another 20%.
There's not as much room. You could buy
totally
thousands and thousands of acres out where you're going to put the stadium in DIA and develop the entire thing, houses, apartments, hotels, bars, all that stuff, and you own the whole thing, whereas you get a small chunk around the stadium right now.
But then the other pushback that I throw out there, though, is that it would be the first time that something that big has been done. The first time. Because, again, like the Rams complex, if they did just buy a little bit of surrounding property, they would own as much as the Rams do. And so you could do that exact same thing. And so maybe they want to go even bigger. But I do think that there is a strong case for them to try to get some deal done with the city there.
I hope
I
so
hope so
badly.
too, but don't forget, we're talking about if they buy the land and expand to have a huge complex around Ball Arena as well. You're talking about building over a highway and under a highway and a light rail station and the light rail lines.
It'd be cool.
You could do it, but when Rob Walton says, okay, this land's going to be smaller, it's going to be way more expensive for me to do this. There's going to be way more resources that I have to use in order, because there's so many difficult things, building over a highway, all this stuff. Just outweighing it being really cool, that's not gonna move the needle for him. And additionally, it's going to be so much easier to sell for people coming in to out of town and conventions and everything, events that would be there, to say we're the first stop off the light rail. And I agree with you, Henry. I hope you're right. I just think that...
Because they already did have those plans to create the entertainment center in the south lots, which would be really cool. But, I'm not holding on too much hope. The one thing I will say is I think there's a chance that maybe Rob Walton isn't all that greedy about this and just says, like, I just want it to be cool and I want the fans to love it. That being said, I see so many fans, and they've got to be from out of town, saying they want a new stadium. They want
totally.
to do the Bronco land thing. And to me, I'm like, please stop. Please don't do that.
Again, I mean, if you take McGregor Square and put it out by the airport, like it's not holding its own. And again, the difference is the size. Like you scale it way up from that.
Yeah.
But I do think that there is much more of a guarantee of success if you build it close because you'll have the game weekends. But then you even look at you can have concerts there. But how many concert tours are designed for indoor 100,000 seat stadiums? Like they're typically built for basketball arenas or for football stadiums. And so I'm not sure that there's that many more events.
That's
and
true.
then we have those conventions.
There is.
Oh, really?
Because how much is Sports Authority or Empower Field used right now? It's used for a concert that you went to earlier this year.
Yeah, it's probably like five
a summer.
concerts a summer.
It would be so much more.
You think so?
And in the winter, I do.
But Henry has a point though. Like the outdoor shows are designed to be outdoor shows. Like there's fireworks and stuff like that.
And you can move them indoors probably. Like you'd find a way to do it. So you wouldn't lose those. I just don't know that there's that many more indoor that are scaled up that big because it'd be like a 5.
My question is is Justin Bieber playing there or can he fill that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because he's playing Madison Square Garden in a couple nights.
For a couple of nights.
But
because he's doing it a couple of nights, so he'd do one night here.
Is he doing stadium? Has he done Mile High?
And so, but the thing is, you'd have
Mile High isn't a get. People don't want to come here and perform at Empower Field. That's why we've seen once Taylor Swift.
Has he done Jerry World?
I don't know. I have no idea.
And that's the thing, though, is it has to be a stadium tour. You have to be playing football stadiums at every stop. You can't go Madison Square Garden to Empower, And so you have to have it designed that way. So Bieber, when he comes through, if he's not playing stadiums all the way through, I feel like he has to go to Ball Arena.
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe you could scale it up,
venue works.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I think the main thing is the Super Bowl, the Final Fours. I'm with you in the sense that doesn't do that much for me. But I'm not the one who's making millions and millions and millions of dollars off.
And not just on the stadium, but he's going to own the hotels and the land on all of that and then just rake in the cash.
Yeah. But again, once every 15 years, you get a Super Bowl. Once every 15, you get a Final Four. Versus if you have it downtown, you have the locals. And if that becomes the hot spot of downtown,
it is true. It is true that your new McGregor Square will get used all the time if you do it downtown.
Yep. But you know what's more valuable is those massive national things
of course.
Than the local. So they do unfortunately care more about the national. And really quick, just one point to your point of trying to keep it in downtown is Rob Walton. He may want to see something happen sooner, and improvements to the stadium would happen sooner than building a whole new complex out there. And he's 77 years old, so that may be something on his mind. I still do think it moves, though.
I want to see if I can see how much money the Cronkies made off of the Super Bowl.
When you look that up, I'm going to read the next one coming in from Let Russ Cook. Howdy, gents. Been a while since the last comment. I'm excited for Hackett and Russ to lead a pick your position type offense. It also sounds like the defense will have a swarming, aggressive demeanor. I'm excited to see them put the pads on. Thanks for the pod, as always. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
I can't find anything.
No, nothing. I made him a lot of money.
Yeah.
Well, we love you, Let Russ Cook, and I completely agree. I think we're going to see a very aggressive defense, which is going to be fun. Next one from Dan Burke says, hey, guys, I see people call the linebacker unit low ceiling, but if Josie plays like he did in those first 2 games and Jonas plays like he did down the stretch, wouldn't y'all say the linebacker unit has a pretty high ceiling? I know there's some projection there, but I feel like people are selling those 2 guys short when they're both capable of high play end. What do y'all think?
I mean, you just look at the best linebackers in the league. Are you going to get a Bobby Wagner out of those 2? No. You're not going to get Levante David. You're not going to get a Roquan. You're not going to get most of those guys. And so when you say high ceiling, you're saying you're probably not getting a top 10 linebacker out of either of those. You can get guys who are good at their jobs. Yeah. And it can be a good group, but expecting like maybe you get a fringe Pro Bowler. If all goes well, Josie plays all season. If that happens, he probably racks up 110, 115, 20, gets himself into the conversation that way. But getting any like all pro type of performance out of there is just it doesn't exist.
Yeah, these guys are going to be their ceiling certainly is very good, but like you're saying, Hank, I completely agree with you. Not all pro.
They haven't shown that they're that guy.
Yeah, and so the ceiling is considerably lower than several other position groups on the team.
Especially since the Broncos have so many position groups with very high ceilings.
Yeah. Real quick, again, wasn't able to find the exact amount of how much they made off of it. But one thing that I think is really interesting to keep an eye out for, and this is really going to apply to people wanting to host Super Bowls. You know how the way that NFTs work, whereas the owner or the creator of it, every time it gets resold, the creator still gets a portion of that, which is like, it's one of the reasons why like artists were really excited about the whole movement when it started. That is going to soon happen with tickets, where even the resale tickets, the money is going to end up going back to the team. And so when you have a Super Bowl and you're already selling tickets at a ridiculous price, but let's say you get Tom Brady versus Russell Wilson this year and it goes crazy, skyrockets. Eventually they're going to get to a point where the owners are making even more money off the resale, which is going to probably create some issues for us as ticket buyers. But
I think that's the first time I've ever heard an analogy with an NFT where the NFT was like the point of reference. Like whenever somebody has an analogy with it, it's always like, so NFT's like this. That was the first one. They're like for real now.
It just shifted the entire world.
You did. Yeah. The NFT, the whole world has changed.
And last one coming in from Melissa. She says, "Hey y'all, first time commenting, but I interact with y'all on Twitter as Melissa Burrow." Of course we know who you are, Marissa. Melissa, we love you. It says, "Can you explain more about how the salary cap doesn't matter when you have a rich owner? Would just like more clarity on what all that means. Thanks, and let's ride."
Okay, so I'll try to distill this down as much as possible.
You
but
get one sentence.
This is going to be a shitty sentence.
Money good.
Money good. There we go.
I would have gone with a long sentence.
That will wrap up our pod good.
No.
No, I'm kidding, Kale.
Essentially, you can pay out your contracts via bonuses. So you can, even if you give someone a giant signing bonus, it's still prorated out across the length of the contract. But instead of, let's say, $30 million a year, you pay out a huge bonus at the beginning that gets prorated out across the entirety of the contract. So then let's say you gave a $60 million bonus on a 6-year contract, then it just goes $10 million per year. Then you can use that to manipulate the cap figure way down. You add those two together, and that creates a much lower cap figure over the course of it. Problem is, let's say you decide you want to move on after 4 years, then you have to pay that entirety comes into your dead cap for those next 2 years. So it's risky in the sense that you better hope you want to keep these guys.
Yep.
But you can only do this if you have the cash, right? Because if you're giving someone a signing bonus, you have to legitimately give it to them, but it still gets prorated out. So the truth is, and this is what the NFL owners don't want you to know, every owner can afford to do this easily. It's just whether they want to or not.
Back in the day, Pat Bowlen couldn't.
This isn't back in the day.
Yeah.
There's the liquid cash part. Like that was the issue with the Raiders with Khalil Mack initially. They had to trade him because they were broke at the time for whatever reason, just didn't have cash. But the key thing with all that is the void years. And so if that way you can spread, if say it's a 7-year contract, but 5 years of playing. So I guess call it a 5-year contract, but then you have the 2 years on the end where that
voidable years.
Exactly, where the contract says like you're not even playing, but they're on there. You get to spread that signing bonus out across that, but you cannot spread the salary out. And so that's where the signing bonus, having the cash, which is what you need, really kicks in, is when you throw those void years on, which is a new thing that just started happening like 5 years ago.
Yep.
By the way, that was a terribly long run-on sentence.
It wasn't one sentence. I refused to.
Money good was a good attempt.
Money good was the best sentence. I highly recommend you just go on to like Pat McAfee's YouTube and watch the whole thing. It's 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And you'll have a much better understanding of how it works. But I truly believe every owner can afford to do it. Every owner has $60 million to throw around.
I'm not so sure, even in today's NFL. I think we've seen it with the Broncos a couple of times.
Yeah,
in the past
But the Broncos
decade.
didn't really have it. Well,
Well, that's what I'm
they didn't
saying.
have
I
an
mean,
owner.
a team, an NFL team wasn't able to do the things.
I shouldn't. Okay, what I mean though is like you look at those net worths on the list of everyone we've seen. All of those guys can afford to do this, but it's a big commitment. So I just don't want people like you.
The
don't let
modern
your
day
owner
should be able to.
And don't let your
absolutely
owner
do this.
trick you into saying, "Well, they can only do that over in Denver." Although I hope they do say that because that's funny.
Right. Yep. Exactly. Exactly. All right. We got a couple super chats to hit on our way out. Oh, just one. Here we go.
Yeah, we got cut off. From Dylan, who says, "Hey, fellas, it's been a while. I was in the middle of a move. Scared but excited about our new owner. New unis done right. New stadium would be awesome."
Yep. The new uniforms is the one that a lot of people are asking about as well. That's not going to happen before this season. I would expect that next off season.
Let me just
I
ask you
think
this.
it comes with the stadium. If there's a new stadium, I bet they implement it at the same time.
Well, that's going to be so many years down
5
the road.
years.
Because they would
6
have to
years.
announce the new stadium like now to have it done 3 seasons from now.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're probably, obviously, it's not going to be announced now. That's probably something next off season at earliest, if not 2 seasons. We still have a lot of time in Denver.
I think the Bills
only
are
they
moving in
could've-
2026. I think their first season is 2026. I don't think they've settled on design.
If only they could have burned down the stadium like they tried to.
They tried.
Play it full
They did try. Shout out to the people on the tour who were like, "Hey, the stadium's on fire."
Yeah.
They saved us all from the Broncos not having a home this year. But
Everyone should have
the
been
new
in
stadium under
it. Everyone at the stadium should have been in on it. Been like, oh, and the workers are like, oh no, that's just a simulation. Don't worry.
well, they
about
did
it.
have everyone in on it, but they forgot there was a tour that
Ah, yes.
day. Of course, just a conspiracy, but I actually really believe that one. Anyways, I do think it's going to be wild. This is the last thing for you. If you could say, keep the current stadium for the next 20 years, but it's 100% guarantee it's staying where it is, or give me a new stadium, probably 80-20 it's moving out. Which one are you taking?
The Broncos, I think they need a new stadium.
Why?
I don't know this, but compared to other NFL stadiums, it's just not anywhere close.
But like, what's
it
wrong?
It's supposed to hold people to watch football.
Yeah, I wish
It does that very well.
I wish they would have just upgraded the old Mile High, which was definitely its own experience. Like, and there's nothing special about Empower Field. What's special about it? Lambeau, all the old stadiums that are around, there's really cool things about it.
But like, what about Lambeau makes it special though?
It's just that it's old.
Like it has
Because it's old
bleachers
and-
instead
and
of
it-
seats.
Yeah, exactly. And it is dug into the ground.
bowl stadium.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
there were really cool things about Mile High Stadium.
Totally.
It was like so rickety
The
and
south
loud
stand,
and
yeah.
south stands. So I do think there's something to that. A stadium built in 1999 just doesn't have much.
For me,
For
it's
na-
just
I
like
mean, yeah.
its job is to hold people to watch football, and it does it perfectly fine.
Yeah, like so
I don't
went-
need like upgraded Wi-Fi or anything like that. Like
Well, they've already done that. So
they did, and it actually works pretty
Oh
well.
really? That's
So
nice.
you do need it.
Yeah, but I don't. I needed it when I was watching the Avs game at the Luke Combs concert.
Put the Broncos more on the map. How much pub have the Chargers and Rams and Raiders got?
The Chargers don't
I don't
get
think
pub.
you need it.
They,
Yeah.
they do for the stadium. That's why they get it.
I think of that as the Rams stadium.
They're
like
Yeah.
I guess just being in the division, I don't.
They're like a roommate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's true. But just put them even more on the map.
Yeah,
I hope.
I think
hope
they're
it
so
stays
on
in
the map
downtown.
though. Like they're the Denver Broncos.
I'm just also on
Like-
on the mindset of it's moving, and I've just
Yeah.
accepted it. So that's why it's not hard on me anymore.
that's how I feel as well. My thing is there's no need for a new stadium, and a lot of people are going to try and tell you that there is, and there just isn't.
Exactly. And like I went through and just watched like the stadium tours for like the last 10 NFL stadiums that came out. Like there's like 4-minute YouTube, just like weird guys who like think they need to record a video of it. But like there's cool stuff in there, but there's also like I don't know. There's so much of it that you just hate. Like one of I think like the Falcons stadium, like the players walk through this club area to go to the field. No, that's the Vikings. You're like that's not how it's supposed to. Like football teams, they run out of the tunnel. There isn't like these rich people who are like looking at like there's so much of that sort of stuff. Or like
Pull down their monocle to watch
I
the
know.
team
It's like
walk.
oh
Let's-
god,
let-
I hate that.
But let's not pretend that it's Empower Field is going to stay as it is. They're going to dump
totally.
almost $1 billion into it if they keep it there. So you're going to be dumping so much money into it to keep it state of the art, and that's just there's going to be they're going to change it because Ryan, to their standards, it does not live up to it.
Yeah, I guess it just doesn't need to be state of the art in my mind. Like I go to, like my favorite place in the world is Folsom Field.
But that's just such a stopping point because in their eyes it does.
So
that's
their
part
eyes
of the
they just want to
conversation.
make more money.
Yeah, and they want to be on the map.
Right, but
again,
it's a
on the
want.
map.
It's not a need.
And if the football isn't a need.
What do you
it's
mean?
It's a want. Just having all of this is just a want.
No.
Yes.
You can want a new stadium because you want to make more money and you want to create a development. I get that. Just don't try to tell me we need a new stadium. You know, the old one's falling apart.
But if you have a shitty stadium, it probably means your ownership isn't very good and they don't care about it.
It's not a shitty stadium though.
It works fine.
Like it's a good stadium.
Compared to the NFL, it is. Yes,
it is. But compared to Levi's Stadium, compared to
I've been to these, it's not that different. Like, I went to Levi's Stadium. You know what was really cool? I got to go into the Top Golf swing suite. I got to play Top Golf.
And you know what makes that
before the game?
And the owners take their friends in there, and their friends say, "Oh my God, this is awesome."
Oh,
yes, luxury.
But like,
it's all about luxury.
Of course it is.
The Falcons put out an official tour of their stadium, and they're saying things like, "Well, you know, we really focused on the Wi-Fi because and included phone chargers at every seat because you know." We hope that you don't want to be on your phone, but we recognize that you might want to be on your phone throughout the game. And so we want to give you that opportunity. And like you hear that and it's just like, oh, I hate that so much. And it's the right business decision. It is the right business decision. But also like, I hate that is the case. And so that just sucks.
It's like my old take of like, you don't have to put one thing down to elevate another. And that's exactly where I'm at on this. It's like, you don't need to tell me that the old one is shitty.
Yes. If you want to blow $5 billion, go ahead.
Yes, exactly. So just don't try to trick people into thinking that there's a need for a new stadium. Just admit you want a new stadium.
Oh, of course. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a massive want.
Yes.
But you know what? Rob Walton may pay for the whole thing.
He'd have to.
I think he probably will. Or him and his...
No, he does not have to.
You think they'd be willing to pay
right now? Does not have to. No, you don't have a choice.
This is a whole other can of worms.
Talk about moving. If you want to force a team to move, you go against the owner's wishes to pay. Now, I don't think that'll come to that because I think Rob Walton's going to want to pay for it all so that everything is his and all the profits are his.
How much longer is the lease for the Broncos at this stadium?
I don't know.
That'd be the big note. Because if they have him under contract for like 10 more years.
It doesn't matter. $70 billion.
That is true.
What I will say is he's probably going to build it on his own. If he didn't want to, he wouldn't have to.
Right.
People would vote for it. Like, I saw someone yesterday on Twitter say, like, voters don't want it. Dude, yes, they don't care. If they see Broncos on the ballot, they're just voting yes.
Yep.
So many transplants. Exactly. Things in the 90s, absolutely. Now, still def probably. But so there are more questions now than before.
Let's get back to something that we talked about really quick before. I think that is more likely voters declining a new stadium for the team to move than what you said about losing seasons. I think that would push them out quicker.
The good news is Rob Walton's building his own stadium with his own money, and he's going to reap the rewards for it.
Yeah.
I thought that was bad news in your mind.
Well, it's good news compared to moving the team.
To go back to answering your question, though, I do think that like you probably do take the new stadium. Again, just going back and watching, like they're nice spots. It is weird, like the idea of an indoor stadium, like it's like Pepsi Center, like linoleum floors at a football game.
You're just bashing new stadium. I'm so confused right
now.
Oh no,
Henry. But you're so confused. You cut me off. Like I think that you do probably take the new stadium. Like is the answer. Like
not me.
No, 20 more years.
Yeah. Give me 50 more years as long as it stays in downtown. That's all I care about.
80-20 was the selling point. If it was 100-0, then I think I'd hold that. But I mean, they're nice. Like new seats, like better views. Probably not that there's a bad seat at Mile High. Like
I think I'm probably skewed just because like I said, Folsom Field is my favorite place in the world. It doesn't need to be anything other than
it's a football stadium,
a holder of humans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and it does that.
I'm with you.
And it has an amazing view, and it's perfect. I don't need anything else.
Mm-hmm.
They could redo the other side of the field house.
It'd be fun for like the first year. Like you get a new stadium, you go and you're like, oh yeah, this is cool. Year 2, you're like, yep, we're just watching football. Like,
yep, $150 Uber to get down there.
Yeah.
I'm so confused what Henry wants right now.
He doesn't know what he
wants.
What
I want is a brand new stadium that's built on the site of the current place. I want them to buy all the land from the city.
No.
They
I
gotta
know
make
what you
a deal.
want, like idealistically.
Oh
but,
yeah, no,
when
that's what I'm
Ryan
pushing
puts to
for.
the question-
Oh, when you give me which bad option do we want? And that's where I'm torn. Build a new stadium. Build your $5 billion. Hope that he decides to build it in town and live with the consequences.
All right.
But not a retractable roof. Either put a roof on it or don't. Like, we don't need a little butthole in the top of the stadium.
We've got enough content for the for another pod. So we'll have you on again soon, Hank.
We're being kicked off right now.
Yeah, well, I've been trying to rap for 5 minutes, and Henry still can't make up his mind. So that is gonna wrap it up for us today. This has been really fun. So thank you for everyone who tuned in. Thanks, Hank, for joining us, and we will catch you guys tomorrow on the DNVR Broncos podcast.